Hello there everyone, welcome back to another video about a children's trading card game. We are in episode 2 of the set review for set 2 of Gate Ruler, including the starter decks, of course, the next block of support. If you haven't seen episode 1, there will be a card in the top right hand corner, which you should go check it out. It was Atlas. There was a lot of cards in that video, I think like 50. Atlas got a lot of support this set, and a lot of it very, very good. So yeah, go check that out to see my thoughts. In this video, I will be talking about Volnar, which again has gotten lots of really cool support. Whole new type of deck, set two big new types of deck actually, and then lots of support for previous decks. So a lot of very strong cards here. We're going to start with the starter deck cards, and I have once again decided to do the probably not worth it, but high effort thing of editing in all the cards. So let's go ahead and get started, and I shall move over to give myself room. Whoa. Oh, and before we get started, if you want to pick up Gate Ruler, be sure to use my affiliate link in the description. It helps support the channel, and it would be much appreciated. So first we have got Golden Sword Dragon Findar, Dragon Lord Pentarch of Holy Blade. Lovely name there. So the enhance ability of this card is very nice. There are some cute combos you can do with familiars. Because they can become a dragon. If you have a familiar that can become a level 2, which there is, then you can essentially just go, like, for example, play that level 0 familiar, make it a level 2, and then boom, enhance it into the Findar, and that is quite stonks. Of course, you can do the more traditional way, which is play it over a level 2 dragon, but that is feels bad. It's you know, it's probably worth it, because giving this thing charge shield is amazing, but even if it doesn't have it, fundamentally it is still a double attacker with 7 attack, and it has 5 HP, so it's reasonably beefy. Of course, still susceptible to things like your zaps and your Buster Arms, and you know, lots of other things against decks that buff burn damage, but this is a very strong legend. I slept on this on the initial reveal. I've tested it out since then, and it's really good. I'm a big fan. A card that I perhaps overhyped in the initial reveal was Explosive Dragon King Detonizer. So this also has the enhance, and its ability is Explosion to remove one of the charges and destroy the unit attacking this card. I really don't like this card. I just think that there are too many ways to kind of deal with it. It's okay. I say I don't like this card. It's not a bad card, and that ability can be really annoying. You know, it's a 7/7/2, so fundamentally it's got some big beefy stats to back it up. But annoying things. Number one, it's not a dragon, so a lot of the synergies that you would really want this card to have are just not there. Now, yes, it's fire and water, and you can build around it, and I'm sure that deck is probably okay. But you know, this is a card where the utility is kind of niche. There are a reasonable number of ways to just hard remove it without, you know, needing to attack it, and certainly if you can burn it for 3 or 4 and then just swing into it with Ruler, if your opponent doesn't have some interaction, then they just wasted a unit for nothing. So it's a very balanced card. Again, not saying it's bad, I'm just not a big fan of it, primarily because it's not a dragon. If it was a dragon, I'd really like this, but you know, it would be a bit too good if it was a dragon, I suppose. So yeah, I'm not too hot on this card. Next, we've got Valgaster of Thunderous Wings. So this is just a 4/7/2 level 3. It is a dragon and a Dragon Lord, but the ability to normal summon dragons for 1 or 1 less energy is really good. If you can keep this thing around, that's a very strong ability. Being able to play out your 3s for 2, or more importantly, your 2s for 1 is really nice, giving you access to all the other things. Yeah, this is a really nice card. Very important to the whole flow of the dragon deck. Obviously less good outside of that, but really good in the dragon deck. Next, we have got the reprint of the promo, or rather the main printing of the promo that was a preview print. Valerie of Mirror Scales. Effect damage to this becomes 0 to 4/4/2. If there was a huge amount of burn running around and that was like all the removal, then I'd go, this is probably worth playing. But there's also a level 2 in the set that just straight up is unaffected by abilities, by things like this. So, you know, I'd rather play that. Next, we have got Mysterion of White Fog. This is a very good card. It's a Dragon Darkness 6/1/2. The darkness is not super relevant, but you know, When it's special summoned, you choose one level 1 or lower enemy unit, destroy it, and if you do, you get heal 1. So that's really nice. This is a great Genesis summon target. It's a great special summon target, really nice in Genesis summon and Dragon decks. Super good, I'm a big fan. Next, we've got Garrus the Icebreaker. The counter of this sends it to the graveyard, and the ability is when it enters the field from anywhere, choose one of your opponent's set cards or field cards and destroy it. This is amazing, great to normal summon, great to special summon. It has a counter for obvious reasons because it's a very powerful effect, but being able to just constantly deal with sets and fields is really, really, really nice. Do not sleep on this card. This card is amazing. Very, very, very strong. A card that's less strong is Verklight of Raging Flame. This, when it's special summoned, chooses one or more enemy units and splits 3 damage among them, and it's only a 3/3/2. I think this card's pretty bad, to be honest. I imagine it's taken quite a hit for that fire attribute for the synergy with a Wonderverse event, which I'll talk about in the Wonderverse review, or more detail about the synergies in the starter deck review, which will be coming out in the coming weeks. But yeah, I don't like this card at all. Golden Sword. So this is the best removal in the game, but despite being the best removal in the game, it's not that good. It's really good, obviously, but it's one of those things where you want to be playing dragons in a energy-based deck, so whenever you draw this thing, that's a massive field bad man, and it's not as if you have things like the secret weapon in that deck typically to just go ahead and play this. That being said, that deck will definitely be a thing. I can very much imagine a blue-yellow deck where you just play ridiculous counters and you just you make your opponent hate themselves every single time they flip one. But yeah, this is a premier form of removal. Basically, no better unit removal in the game. Super strong, but well balanced in the fact that if you ever do get it, it's the odds of you actually being able to use this thing if it's set are kind of low in my testing. It's pretty difficult a lot of the time. Yeah. Drago Strike is a lot easier to use. It's also a combat technique, so that's relevant. The counter plays it, and you can choose one level 2 or lower enemy unit, and provided you have a level 2 or greater dragon on the field, you can destroy it. So this is really, really good removal. The only thing it doesn't remove is 3s, but that's fine. There's a lot of very, very valuable level 2 or lowers that you can remove with this. Obviously the counter, the problem is, of course, that you have to have the dragon to resolve this. So even though the counter plays it, you need to have the dragon on the field for the effect to go off. So it's well balanced in that sense. Not particularly useful outside of a dragon deck at all. In fact, completely unplayable. And within a dragon deck, it's a nice option to have, but I'd kind of prefer Findar most of the time. Not Findar, I prefer Golden Sword most of the time because that just deals with anything. And if I hit it as a counter, it's always going to get use. And yes, it's more difficult to use outside of my turn, but this is not exactly easy to use outside of my turn either. So there we go. That's it for the starter deck cards. Plenty of good ones there, but let's move on to the main set stuff now. First, we've got Dragonic Armageddon. So this is the main set legend. This is a very powerful card. Let's say level 2. It's a Dragon Fire, so Dragon, important, can be added with the Wonderverse card. Counter is to choose one level 2 or lower card in the opponent's field and destroy it. Notice it says card, not unit, so you can deal with events or with field spells with this. And then the use timing is normal. Choose one card on your opponent's field and destroy it. And then if you have another level 2 or higher dragon on your field, destroy that too. That's pretty good. Being able to just pop 2 for 1 is a really, really strong. This feels like kind of an auto in the dragon deck. It feels like it's a bit difficult because that deck has a lot of very powerful counters. At the moment, I'm leaning towards Dragonic Armageddon and Findar as my 2 legends of choice, but you also have access to Flying Spaghetti Monster, and Flying Spaghetti Monster is ridiculous. So it's very tough to find the correct legend choices in that deck. But yeah, this is a very powerful spell that's balanced by the fact that there are so many good legends that you may not even ever end up seeing it. Very, very good. Next, we've got Final End, Last Dragon, the Finale. This is a card that I really don't like because it's not a dragon. That's a really big problem I have with this. The fact that it's not a dragon sucks big time, which is really, really frustrating because, it has synergy with dragons and traitors, but in Darkness you barely play any dragons at all. So the number of dragons you have to discard for this not that great in number. The number of traitors you play at the moment isn't super big, so this just feels like yes, it's a nice counter effect, but you have a lot of very nice counter effects in Darkness. I would argue Darkness has some of the best counter effects in the game. So I think this is a card that it reads very well, and then the more you sort of think about it, the worse it gets. That being said, it's not a bad card. I played it one in my Darkness deck, and I think whenever we do get the Traitor deck coming together, this will be a key part of that deck. It just, at the moment, it's one of those ones where it's released in the set and you can see some utility for it, but it probably won't really be super great until next set or set 4 or something. Roaring Demon Lord Stridem. This is a very key part of the Beast deck. This is super good. It's a 6/7/3, just beefy stats. It's only losing 1 attack off a just vanilla, but in exchange for that you get Enhanced Beast, which is very easy to do, by the way, and the effect to just stop your opponent using one of their powerful counters, combined with Earth and Beast attributes, which are both relevant. This guy is very good. Obviously restrictive in the decks you want to put him in, but in the decks you do put him in, quite strong. Next, we've got Holy Swordsman of Golden Scales. I spoke about this card a little bit before. So this cannot be chosen by your opponent's events or card abilities. So basically, it's just like, yeah, nah, you can't touch me. It's a 3/3/2, so balanced in terms of stats, but you can also get your combat techniques out of the discard with this dude, and that's really powerful. The combat technique deck is super fun. I think a little underrated. I've been experimenting with it and I've been enjoying it a lot. The combat techniques are very powerful. You can remove sets, you can buff your stats up to infinity essentially. You can give your ruler breakthrough, you can do things like play a golden sword, you can there's a lot of combat techniques that are really powerful, and that you can just very freely use in this deck. So very powerful card. I think people are sleeping on it. Next, we've got Meryl Strauss, another very powerful card. When this is in an attacking zone, it cannot be attacked or chosen by unit's ability, so it can only be removed by events. Granted, there are a tremendous number of those. Primarily Zap is the big one you're going to see. Like if your opponent, this is going to be like a premier target, but you're kind of okay with that because it refunds itself immediately. It sets your summon cap to 3, so the turn you play it, like, you're not really losing anything, and then every turn after that is just value. So super good card. The biggest downside is finding space in your deck to play this guy. Typically, I'm seeing him in like combat technique decks, in Genesis summoning decks, that kind of thing. I'm seeing this guy seeing good use. Really strong card. Next we've got Dark Mother. So this is a 3/5/2 Traitor Wizard Darkness, so very strong stats. And it has normal, discard a wizard with Abyssal Summoning from your hand to perform Abyssal Summoning. So if this was just discard a wizard to perform Abyssal Summoning, I think this would be nuts. The fact that it's a wizard with Abyssal Summoning immediately restricts the choices and kind of forces you to play a lot of bad cards to make this pretty good card do anything. Otherwise, it's just a vanilla. And granted, a 3/5/2 is not exactly a bad vanilla, but it's, Darkness has better vanillas available to it. And personally, I just don't think it's the way to go for Darkness. I think it's a good card, and I certainly think with more support, we'll see this build become more and more fleshed out. But at the moment, I'm not overly fond of this card. Next, we've got Warfare Wizard Alketa. So this is a 1/4/0, so big HP wise. Counter puts it into the graveyard, but the Genesis summoning here, you get to also draw a card when you use it, and your summon cap becomes 3 the time you use it, and it also sets your level 0 warriors to level 1. So that's really good. This is a staple in Genesis summoning decks and pretty dead outside of that. Next, we've got Dragonblood Princess Kimarala, basically only useful in the Combat Technique deck, but in the Combat Technique deck, it's really good. 4/2/2 stats is nice. You're not taking a massive hit to stats compared to a vanilla, and the ability to, you can make this better than a vanilla, depending on the Combat Technique you choose. You could make this 7 attack, you could make this 5 HP, you could make this, you can use it to pop sets, you can use it to give your ruler breakthrough. It's a very powerful card. Obviously synergy based, but you can hold it in your hand. It is a touchdown, so yeah, super good. Next, we've got Balam Rem Rex. I have sung this card's praises to till the end of time. I will continue to sing this card's praises. Just so good. Stable 4 from Darkness, and I will hear nothing else. Next, we've got Leuva, the Lion King. This is a really nice card in the Beast deck. When it enters the field, choose one of your opponent's energy cards and rest it, which is quite nice. We see that being really valuable with the dragon in your margin front. Of course, you'll see that and me talk about that in that review. So subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to be notified when that video comes out. Was that smooth? I think that was smooth. And when it's Genesis Summon, choose one of your enemy units in the defensive zone and destroy it. It's a 3/5/3. So it's good. It's strong. Yeah, solid beast card. Not really much room for it outside of that, but in that deck, very, very nice. Next, we've got a card I refuse to pronounce or even attempt to pronounce. The counter uses the effect, and the effect is choose one enemy unit with defender and destroy it. And it's a 4/4/2. So I don't know that this really. I hate the fact this has counter. Basically, like it's an Earth Beast Darkness, so great traits, but great art. I just cannot justify the space for this in pretty much anything. I think is the biggest issue with it. Obviously, if we ever see something with a more relaxed counter restriction, a ruler that lets you actually fit this thing in, then good, card's strong. But yeah, just too difficult to justify the space. Next, we've got the Legendary Beast Summoning Master. This is a staple in Genesis Summoning Beasts and Beast decks kind of in general, and pretty useless outside of that. Next, we've got Power Ray Maximum. This is the most telegraphed thing in the entire game. There's no way you will ever be able to use this ever as the main ability. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. It's so telegraphed. There's so much set removal. You have to do nothing on your turn, or at least untap everything. Your opponent has to have no way of interacting with your energy, which they might. You have to be able to survive a full opponent's turn with basically no interaction or only free interaction. You won't have been able to play anything other than level 0s the turn before. There's so many reasons this card just sucks. Yeah, bad card. Demon Lord Meryl's Magical Calculation Program. So the benefits of this, of Star Song, are 1, it's an immediate, and 2, it can put things back. Now, in most decks, you will just prefer Star Song, but in Wizard, this is nice because you can, if you have nothing to play on your opponent's turn, you can use this to convert that 1 energy into value. And in decks like Genesis Summoning, where drawing your level 3 dragons is really bad, you can put them back, and that's quite nice. So a very niche utility card, but in those circumstances, it's quite nice. Next, we've got Gelder's Gram. This is a very nice card at like 1/2 in Darkness. It's a level 1 Darkness, so that's obviously a point in its favour, and it can just remove things that are quite annoying. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this card. I think you should be playing this in Darkness at least a few. Next, we've got Volnar. This is so important to making Darkness work, in my opinion. I think this is a staple 4 of. Super, super important card. Yeah, just very, very important. Very, very good. Just basically everything going for this card that you would want. Next, we've got Gwendit. This has touchdown to be a 7/7. The turn you summon it as a dragon and a fire. So the fire attribute's quite nice on this. But you know, how valuable is this? I don't know. It's good. It is good. You know, just getting a 7/7/2 on that turn is really, really nice. And it's not like it's easy to remove on your opponent's turn. It's got the dragon trait, so that's nice. It's a good dragon to play from hand, essentially. The problem is just, I don't know, like how valuable is that? It gets over Flying Spaghetti Monster, which is nice. I think it's a good card. It's just not a very spectacular card. It's a very value card. Which is fine, you know. A 5/5/2 level 2 is nice. The fact that it's a 7/7/2 the turn you summon it is also really, really good. So like, I know it feels like I'm underselling this card. It's really nice. It's just not obviously, wow, this card's super good. It's good. It's good. Next, we've got Anubis Lookalike. When this is destroyed, you look at your opponent's hand, choose one card from among it, and discard it. It's a Warrior Earth Wizard, so really nice traits there. 4/2/1, so reasonable stats, decent clearing power. Of course, the problem is the format is mostly Apprentice due to ease of play. We are seeing Knight and Wizard get more and more and more popular as people get better, and as the decks become more obviously strong and they learn how to play around Apprentice, because Apprentice is kind of 0 to 100 in like a week, and Apprentice decks are basically at full power because everyone's figured them out, whereas the other energy-based decks take a long time to figure out. So at the moment, this is like a really bad card for the meta, but obviously as the meta becomes more hand-based, this will become a lot better. To just remove, like, for example, an Alice from your opponent's hand, just pluck it out, or a really important piece of setup they need, is really, really good. This is a card that's going to, like, having game knowledge is going to be very valuable for, and it's a card I would keep an eye on for the future, but at the moment it's pretty whatever. Next, we've got Black Knight Zahar. This is Breakthrough, and it gets +1 attack for every Black Knight in the graveyard. This is a card that I would keep an eye on as Black Knights become more and more relevant, because it's got great traits and a great ability. It's just at the moment I found it very difficult to fit into any Darkness builds. I would say this will probably be quite stable in Traitor, whenever that becomes a thing. Black Knight Gastel is a really, really nice card. When it's used as material for Abyss Summoning, it can be any level from 0 to 2. It's basically this card plus Docklefar together, just will let you do whatever you want. Like Viola, all day, every day. They provide the consistency. This has fantastic traits. Yeah, just a great card. Just a really, really great card. 100% play this in Darkness. Next, we've got Ragdoll Cat Sith. This is a 4 of in Genesis Summoning and a 4 of in Beasts. Yeah, probably a 4 of in Beasts. Definitely 4 of in Genesis Summoning. This card's ridiculous in Genesis Summoning. It's a 3 HP counter that you can drop in your defensive zone, and it's a familiar, which means you can revive it and send it back with Shiori, which puts counters back in your deck, and you are shuffling. Yeah, staple. Next, we've got Beastman Warrior. This is just a 5/1/1 Warrior Earth Beast. Very nice in terms of the fact that it's a warrior, so good for Genesis Summoning. It's good clearing power. It's a beast, so it can be a 6/2, which is also really, really strong clearing power. And it's an Earth, which is good synergy with a spell we'll talk about in a little bit. So yeah, just a nice option. Next, we've got your Imagine Survival Squad. This is just a 3/5/0 vanilla, but it's a warrior and a military, so great traits, amazing stats. Very strong card. Very, very, very strong card. If you're not playing this card, I suggest you give it a go. Next, we've got Barzo Dorba. Choose one level 1 or lower enemy unit and destroy it. If you do, heal 1. And this is level 2. This is a very generic card, by the way. This is not restricted to Darkness, so I feel like more decks should be experimenting with like using this because it destroys and it heals. It's pretty good. Yeah, solid card. I play this at 1 in my Darkness deck. If you haven't seen the Darkness deck profile, by the way, card in the top right-hand corner, if I remember. Next, we've got Isk Han, which is War Gods Below. It's a combat technique, counterplays it, and you choose one level 1 or lower enemy unit, and if you have a warrior on your field, destroy it. So this has the same issue where if you do not have a warrior, this does nothing, but the fact that it's a combat technique, which means you can put it back as a counter, and the fact that you can Genesis Summon in that deck to shuffle as well, it's all very nice. It flows together quite nicely. I would say this is a reasonable card to play at a couple copies in that deck, but sort of outside of that, it's pretty meh. I wouldn't really play it outside of that. Next, we've got Earth Jewel. Counter is to play it. If you have 3 more Earth cards in your graveyard and you have an Earth unit on your field, recover 1 life, and it's a level 1. So this is basically a Beast card and nothing else, because that's where pretty much all the Earth cards are. And in Beast, it's okay, though I think finding the counter space for it is pretty tough. Next, we've got Break Through the Enemy. This is a combat technique. You either destroy one of your opponent's set cards or field cards, or your ruler gets +3 attack until the end of the turn. Both of those effects are very useful. Giving your ruler +3 attack can actually let you deal with a flying spaghetti monster when you might not be able to otherwise, though, more importantly, you can just pop the set that is the flying spaghetti monster, and your opponent is crying. This card is amazing. Popping sets is very, very valuable. Do not sleep on the strength of popping sets. And finally, for this review, we have Foregazer. This is a level 0 combat technique with the use timing of it is immediate. You either choose one of your warrior or wizard units and it gets +3 attack or +3 HP until the end of the turn, or your ruler gets +3 attack until the end of the turn, or your ruler gets breakthrough and -2 strike until the end of the turn. Every single one of those effects is amazing. This card is really, really good, very generic, kind of useful outside of the combat technique deck, and in the combat technique deck, this is going to be one of the best ones you can play because it's free. Super, super good card. Highly recommend you give it a go. And there we go. So that is my review of Volnar. Big decks. I think Genesis Summoning has taken some big Ws. Beast has taken some big Ws. Darkness has taken some big Ws. There's lots of very, very nice value cards in Volnar now. Dragons are a thing and they're pretty good. Lots of amazing support pieces here. I can't wait to experiment with them more, and I can't wait till they come to English. But there we go. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel for more Gate Ruler content. I upload it pretty much every day. interspersed with some Vanguard content now and then. But Gate Rule is my main focus because I think it's a better game. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.